Right, and welcome to the second part of this new 12-part lyric breakdown series. I almost forgot how many tracks were on the bloody thing for a minute there. Right, now, if you didn't see last time, I broke down Golden Years. You know that song? Pretty big. So now I'm doing the second song that I wrote for the album because I thought it makes sense for the thematic journey to kind of illustrate the progression of how this album came to be. We go in order of the tracks, not like how they're listed on the track list, but instead go in order of when I wrote them, which I think makes more sense, which I kind of just did random for sake of progress, and I decided halfway through it made more sense to have an order. This time, I'm going to actually have an order, so yeah. Which, funny enough, the second song I wrote is the second single of the album, which this wasn't meant to be the single, and I think I spoke about this in the actual video. Heartbreaking wasn't meant to be a single, but after hearing it and just seeing things that happened in my life at the time, it made sense for me, and I'm very happy with it. Now, Heartbreaking is a cool part of the past section of the album, and this is a song. It's about kind of letting go and reminiscing on old friendships and kind of people you used to know, and a couple of important people in particular who you kind of leave behind. When I was 8 years old, I moved. I wasn't eight, I was nine actually. Get it right. When I was nine, I moved from kind of Bristol to currently live, of course, Yatton, which everyone bloody knows that. So it was, that was kind of drastic. And as a kid, you don't get much say in that matter, do you? It is what it is. So you've got to. But then it's always difficult, going to a new school, a new environment because you've got to start from scratch. I hate it. I mean, I'm going to college next year, and I'm kind of annoyed that you work for ages to build up these friendships, and then you've got to do it all over again. So I I've no like the amount of respect and kind of empathy I have towards kind of the kids who were in like five different schools, kicked out of six schools. It must be a nightmare, you know what I mean? I've only done two, and it's a hassle, isn't it? So that's kind of what this is about. Looking back on friends that you kind of lost. But the ironic thing about this song was that it became outdated quite quickly because I actually connected with one of the people who this song was mainly about. So like that's kind of the funny thing. And that's what I find with doing music is the frustrating thing is that you write something and then a few weeks later, because of how life works, it becomes updated, but then so it kind of loses its original meaning, but you can still I feel like songs are timeless, and that's what I always see. You know what I mean? Like you see artists, they still perform kind of breakup songs when they were like 16, 17, when they're like in their 30s and 40s, because it's like those songs are still iconic and are still important to people. And people, I hope someone, even if I can't relate to this song now, I hope that somebody else can kind of put pieces of their life into this and find something in the song. And I still think it's a really important song and it's a good song. So let's get on to the breakdown, shall we? So we got you were the only one who could ever understand, the only one not free to take my hand to sing, me had to throw it all I can. Decision made out of our hand, the barrier built without plan, you were the ocean, I was the sand, my foot and him who were only on but felt the sentence was the song. I do a lot of imagery, like metaphors in this album, like there's a lot of like old because it's like a folk album, I kind of went for like in a lot of the songs I'm doing kind of these like time like fantasy worlds, like ocean and sand, like in the song Keep Smiling, I do this whole thing about like outlaws and like Robin Hood and stuff and that sort of thing. I kind of carry that theme because it's kind of got that folk theme, so and like the new frontier, so I kind of made it feel like an adventure, like one of those Biff, Chip and Kipper. That's a bad analogy. Like one of those books. Um, so this was kind of like this friend in particular was really important to me because it was one of the first people that ever got me in my life, and that was kind of difficult because it was like I was a bit of a strange child, believe it or not. I know, shock. Um, so I was very much a bit of a loner, a bit of I don't really know how to communicate with people. But then this person in particular was one of the first people that like actually was not afraid to like talk to the bloody big bad wolf, whatever. I'm just saying to him, nice. But then it kind of had to fall apart because of moving, because of course you try and stay in contact. I get into that, something. It's like it's hard to do it. Long distance is very difficult. Trust me. So people just move on. Like people move on, don't they? And you just get on with your life, and before you know it, it's been months before you talk to the person, and then the longer it kind of goes on, the weirder it feels when you eventually do reconcile. So it's you just let it go, don't you? So you just let it waddle away into oblivion, which is not a great strategy, in all honesty. But that's kind of what I went for. And then it was like I'm kind of doing the wink wink nudge nudge. Like I was a child. Is this really that deep? But it's like it's a saga that what could have been. You know what I mean? And the chorus is ain't it heartbreaking the way that we faded, ain't it heartbreaking the way things are graded. And I repeat that's why, and then I do an extended chorus. I'm God don't have broken, but he listens. He spoke that one connection could be broken, and then the same spike was break. Starts to ponder what could have been. You were the reason that things ain't heartbreaking the way it faded. I feel like Eminem reading out these lyrics sometimes. A bit. That's a bit of inquisitive brain line. I forgot about that. But it's like I always used to wonder how the trajectory would have been different had I stayed, and I did that a lot. I do that in New Frontier. There's a lot of reminiscing, a lot of what could I have done if different events in my life were different. What would the layout be? Because I always wonder about that. Like it's the domino effect, isn't it? So it's like if you removed key events, would we get here? Probably in some semblance, but there'd be the element missing. So I think that was an important thing. And then it's like the Benny Gates have spoken. I'll break into this more, but at some point I did try and reconnect, but it was like it was bizarre because it felt like we were in different stages. Which is quite funny, actually. And then this is the person that actually got me into the world of music, so that was kind of a interesting thing. Like I pretty much started singing because I didn't really take it seriously, and then eventually I started doing music and started talking to them about that, and that's how it kind of all spiraled. So yeah, I think it's quite important. Right, verse 2 is where we get a bit more of the meat going on here. So we got in the beginning we tried to stay in touch, but actually went to dust. At some point, tried to remove the rust, tried to reconnect, get back in the chat. Time we both massively had issues, so died, but we couldn't find them in the ground and dot those eyed after all this time. There's a nice type of different route. Yeah, so in the beginning for a while it was like, well, we're definitely just going to stay in touch. We're going to keep doing stuff and we meet up and stuff like that. But like, I think the pandemic put a stop to a lot of things, and I feel like everyone's isolated. Then after the pandemic, so long gone by, it's like you lose people. It was an awful thing for a lot of people, and I think the more time goes on, the more mad that whole period looks. It's like, were we really doing that 4 years ago? We were, weren't we? It's bizarre. So when I tried to reconnect with them, it was in a period where I was mentally not all there. This was kind of the made out alive kind of era, late 2021, early 2022, which was a period of my life which I try and forget about. Even though I constantly bring it up in the music because it's a really easy place to go to. So, and then they were having their own issues as well, really bad stuff, and I think it wasn't compatible at the time because it was like we were both such messes. We weren't able to do that, and it was like we weren't mature enough to reconcile and break this together. So and for like pretty much 2022, 2023, they get a happy birthday, like happy birthday back and forth, and that's like the level of communication it was. So it was like straight. Then we got probably got your own friends now, just like me. From well, it sounds to let it be. Now we're both still we listen to music, take percent and use it. We go show what we're doing from time to time. So we don't cross that line. I have no idea how to really spot that light. Yeah, this person's a singer. Someone who I have worked with and plan to work with, so that's really exciting. It's like the whole you give a thumbs up, you don't cross that line. It's like it's small talk, small like 2, 3 reply, message, reply, and that was all it was. And it was like there's a whole key that we need to unlock here, and it's not working at the minute because we're both not in the right headspace to do this. And then the chorus repeats. I've already done that. And then the third verse is, where would I be now if we just changed the course of time? If I remained, would you be in a better place? Would you not go home? Would I be happy? Would I have a better future layout? That is what's so heartbreaking that way we faded. And it's again of like that wonder, that curiosity of like, if I stayed, would they have gone through? Because if they had that shoulder to cry on, if they had that support, and then I maybe would not have faced what I faced as well. So it was like it's if buts and maybes really. But then again, like worst could have happened. You don't know. So it's delusion. It's kind of like desperation to think back to this simpler time. And I think since I reconnected, the song has a whole new meaning, and it feels quite beautiful. It's like this passing of the torch sort of thing, and it's like how it all bubbled back, and it's a really important song, and I think it's a one that it was good to do a song about friendship and not loved ones because I've oversaturated that market, don't you think? So I think it was good to do a track that was, and this was a more pop based one, and I really like what I was able to do the chorus, extended chorus in this one, and yeah, I think the instrumental was really sick. I like the ending, and it's a music video as well, so you can go check that out. So yeah, the next song we're going to be breaking down is the Nightmare Neighbor. That's going to be a really fun note breakdown, so I'm very much looking forward to that. I will see you lot soon.